Hello everyone, welcome back today to another video onto this channel. And first of all, I want to wish you all out there a very happy new year. I know it has been a few days, but still, hey, a new start, a new beginning. And with that, I want to start a new series onto this channel, which is the Maze Runner series, written by James Dashner. A very amazing and thrilling series that James Dashner has brought to us. This hikes up your curiosity and keeps you gripped into the book. So yes, if you have seen my previous videos, you might have noticed that I have a shortage of fantasy books and science fiction books. So today I'm here with a series that is part fantasy and more of science fiction. Even though it includes a bit of, fantasy storyline, it is mostly science fiction. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the storyline of this book. So this book starts off with a teenager known as Thomas who is now going on an elevator shaft going up. So here's the thing about Thomas. He doesn't remember anything at all. He doesn't remember his parents, the school he went to, his friends, his siblings, or who he was. Nothing. The only thing that he remembers is his very own name, Thomas. That's all. His memory was clearly wiped out. But he didn't still not forget the basic facts like the language and all the facts but about everything else. Like he knew that there were parents, there were schools, there were friends, there were siblings, there were food. He knew all about that, but he just forgot the facts related to himself. So Thomas found himself in an elevator shaft which was going up, and then the elevator shaft comes to a sudden halt. The doors open and Thomas sees a group of teenagers staring at him from above, and they were just using many terminology and which was totally unfamiliar to Thomas, because like shank, shuck, clunk, it was totally new to Thomas, and he was hit with loads of confusion and also curiosity. He didn't know where he ended up. So when he came out, he saw a really huge ground covered by 4 concrete stone walls, which the teenagers called as the Glade. So let me describe of the Glade. The Glade is a really humongous place, very huge, very vast, and it covered about 20 football fields as told in the book, and it's covered with concrete walls that nobody can go out, but it still had doors in all direction, like east, west, north, south and all, and those doors led to a very huge maze, very huge, with the walls that are really tall as a building and full rock solid. So Thomas didn't know anything about this. He didn't know about the maze and all the life-threatening things that were out there. And the people, the teenagers who lived there, who called themselves as the Gladers, decided not to tell Thomas about the horrific events that happen in the maze, because they want him to be in an ease and not going mad. So the next day they gave a tour to Thomas about everything. They just told him everything about the maze, about the Glade, and how there are horrific creatures known as grievers who live out in the maze, who come out in the night out of their hole, which Thomas calls as griever hole, as we get to know in the later part of the book. So these grievers are very active in the night, but are rarely seen in the day. That's why the doors of the Glade close every night, so that the Gladers are protected from the grievers. So here's the fact about grievers. These horrific creatures are very powerful. They can kill you if you stay too long. But if you get stung by them and manage to, somehow escape, you will still survive. The Gladers will be able to cure you. But you will go you will go through a process which is known as the changing. This is a very horrific and nasty process where you get to know about your memories. You will get back your memories. So you might be thinking, this is not nasty at all. This is amazing. They will get to know about their own family and all. But it just turns out to be a lot of horrific events that happened before they ended up in the glade, and they just caused a lot of havoc. They were angry, they screamed with pain and all. So it's just totally horrible. But they come back to their original state in 3 to 4 days. But somehow they are not able to talk about the memory that they had. So Thomas, the next day he comes, there's a girl in the lift, the elevator shaft. So the thing is, the elevator shaft in which Thomas came, this elevator shaft comes once in a month to give a glader, a new person. And once in a week, it comes and gives supplies like water supplies, food supplies, and all the supplies required for the gladers to self-sustain. So they had their own farm, their own barn, and they had a group of people. They were divided into categories, into each job. They were doing each job particularly, like farming and making food, cooking, and runners, who was the most important of them all, because the runners went out into the maze at the morning when the doors open and try to come back before the doors close and try to find an exit in the maze. So when they get to know there's a girl in the elevator shaft, she has a note in her hands, clutched in her hands, which said she's the last one ever. That's it. There's no more glader who's gonna come back in the elevator shaft. She's gonna be the last person. But that does not stop the the weekly supplies. So Thomas was blamed of her coming, because the girl was in coma. She didn't know anything. Only she had a note clutched in her hand. But she kept on saying Thomas' name over and over again in her sleep. Even Thomas was surprised, because he did not have a clue of who she was, even though he had flashes of memories come back to him for a split second and gone away. Because he was a unique person who was sent into the maze. He was very unlike the other people. The other people, when they first came into the glade, they were fully scared. They screamed and they cried for days. But Thomas was very curious to find out about the glade, about the maze, and he was very eager to find out an exit out of the maze, to go back to home, to go back to their family, to go back to the life which they don't remember. So one day, Thomas finds himself face to face with two people who are out in the maze before the doors were getting closed. The doors were about to get closed when he spots two people who were out there trying to come. One was stung and the other one was dragging the stung person who was unconscious to come back, but they couldn't make it. So Thomas made a noble yet a dumb decision to go into the maze, because no one has ever survived a night in a maze. If you're there, you're dead. That's it. So Thomas and the other two people manage to survive somehow because of Thomas' brilliant thinking of just dodging the attacks of the grievers. The grievers were very dangerous, but yet they were very stupid. So the adventure of Thomas surviving the night in the maze is right in this book, because he was one of the few people who could survive in the night in the maze. The few people, I mean the other two, were also included. So we also get to know in the later part that Thomas and Teresa, the girl who was in coma, are also kind of related. Before they ended up in the glade, they were some sort of friends or something. And they were telepathically connected because they could talk through their minds. And Thomas knew that they were creators, the people who have sent all these teenagers into this place. They were out there, they were trying to test them, to see their mental capacity, to see their brain power, to see if they figure out how to come out. So Thomas got to know this, and he, along with the other gladers, start off in their adventure. If you get the gist of that, then you might like this book. Grab the book right now, because this is a very thrilling and adventurous book and is recommended to all of the people out there who like fantasy, science fiction, and are built with curiosity. Of course, the first 4 to 5 chapters might be frustrating for some of you because James Dashner takes the story quite slowly and he builds the curiosity into you, and he goes to such an extent that you can't control it yourself. So yes, this book has also been adapted into a movie which was released in 2014. So you get to know now that this book has been published a long time ago. So comparing the book and the movie, I'm not just gonna do that because both of them, comparing both of them totally makes no sense. The book is very good, but the movie, on the other hand, if you read the book and then watch the movie, then you might feel that the movie is not good at all. But if you see the movie, then you might feel it is good without reading the book, of course. So yes, the storyline of both of them is totally not matching. So yes, the movie is good in its own way and the book is good in its own way. There's no point of comparing them both. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, drop a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and turn on the post notifications so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video onto this channel. Grab the series and check it out right now if you like adventure, science fiction, and fantasy novels. And I'll meet you guys in my next video. Till then, goodbye.